History of Japanese writing. Did you know, a long time ago, people in Japan could speak Japanese, but they could not write it? They talked to each other, told stories, and shared ideas using only their voices. There were no books, no signs, and no notebooks. Can you imagine a world without writing? Writing arrives from China. Then something exciting happened. About 1,500 years ago, writing came to Japan from China. People saw Chinese characters for the first time. These characters would later become an important part of the Japanese language. A whole new world of learning had arrived. Quiz time. Let's see what you remember. Which came first in Japan? Take a guess before we find out. When writing first came to Japan from China, people did not have hiragana or katakana yet. The only writing system they had was kanji. At first, educated people used kanji to record important information, laws, religious teachings, and government documents. But there was a problem. Japanese and Chinese were very different languages. People could borrow Chinese characters, but writing Japanese using only kanji was difficult. Japan needed a better solution. Here's something fascinating. Many kanji came from China. The meaning stayed the same, but the pronunciation often changed. Take the character mountain. In China, it was pronounced shan. In Japan, people already had their own word for mountain, yama. So the character kept its meaning, but the sound became different. This is one reason Japanese kanji often have more than one reading today. Kanji quiz time. Let's test your kanji knowledge. What does yama mean? Can you remember the answer? People learned to write, they discovered a problem. Writing everything in kanji took a lot of time. Some Japanese words and grammar were also difficult to express using only Chinese characters. Over time, people began writing kanji more quickly and more smoothly. These simplified forms eventually became hiragana. Hiragana was not invented all at once. It slowly evolved over hundreds of years. Let's look at a real example. This kanji is an. People wrote it again and again. As handwriting became faster and more flowing, the shape gradually changed. After many generations, it became the hiragana character. Many hiragana characters have similar stories. They all began as kanji. Hiragana quiz time. Let's see what you remember. Which came first? And think carefully. If hiragana came from kanji, what is the answer? Around the same time, scholars and Buddhist monks were studying Chinese texts. They often needed a quick way to write notes beside difficult kanji. Instead of writing the entire character, they wrote only part of it. These shortcuts eventually became katakana. So while hiragana came from writing kanji more smoothly, katakana came from using pieces of kanji. Kanji changes into katakana. Take a look at this kanji. A people used only part of the character. Over time, that piece became that's katakana. Just like hiragana, katakana came from kanji. Katakana quiz time. Let's play another quiz. Which one is katakana? Can you spot the katakana character? Remember, katakana has straighter, sharper lines than hiragana. The answer is B. Most languages use one alphabet. Japanese is unusual. It uses 3 writing systems together. Kanji usually carry meaning. Hiragana is used for grammar and native Japanese words. Katakana is often used for foreign words, names, and special emphasis. Together, these 3 systems make modern Japanese possible.
私はラーメンを食べます。
Can you see the different kinds of characters? Some are kanji, some are hiragana, some are katakana. Japanese mixes all three together in the same sentence. Find the katakana. Now it's your turn. Look at this sentence again.
私はラーメンを食べます。
Katakana is often used for words that came from other languages. Secret Japanese letters. Did you know Japanese used to have extra kana? Today we use
あいうえお、
but long ago Japanese also used letters like
ウェ。
these were real Japanese letters, not mistakes. They appeared in old books, poems, names, and signs. They're like hidden letters from Japanese history.
ウェ。
Letters that disappeared. So why did they disappear? Languages change over time. Long ago, these two had different sounds from I and E. But later, people started pronouncing them the same way. Began to sound like
ウェ。
began to sound like
え。
when the sounds became the same, people no longer needed separate letters. So modern Japanese stopped using them in everyday writing. Now look carefully. Which one is the old letter? You can still sometimes see old kana in traditional names, old shops, shrines, and historical writing. That is why learning old letters helps us understand Japanese history. Japanese look different. Long ago, let's travel back about 100 years. Japanese writing did not always look the same as it does today. Today we often see Japanese written from left to right, just like English. But in old Japan, many signs, posters, and shop names look different. Some were written vertically, some were written from right to left. So if you look at old photos of Japan, the signs may look backwards. But they were not mistakes. That was one normal way of writing at the time. A different reading direction. Here is the big idea. Traditional Japanese was often written vertically from top to bottom. When vertical lines were placed next to each other, people read the columns from right to left. Later, some short signs were written in one horizontal line, but they still followed the old direction. So instead of reading left to right, people sometimes read right to left. For example, an old sign might look backwards to us today, but to people at that time it made perfect sense. Which direction is old style? Now let's test your history detective skills. But some old Japanese signs were read from right to left, so which direction is the old style? The answer is B, right to left. Great job. You just learned that writing systems can change not only their letters but also their direction. After hundreds of years of change, Japanese became the writing system we use today. Modern Japanese uses three writing systems together: kanji, hiragana, and katakana. Each one has a special job. Kanji usually carries meaning. Hiragana helps show grammar and Japanese words. Katakana is often used for foreign words, names, and sound effects. Look around Japan today. You can find these three writing systems everywhere: on books, on train stations, on websites, on video games, and even on snack packages. The writing system that began more than 1,500 years ago is still growing and changing today. Here's one final surprise. Modern Japanese can still be written in two different directions. Many books, novels, manga, and newspapers are often written vertically. The text goes from top to bottom. The columns are read from right to left. But websites, emails, signs, and most digital text are usually written horizontally. The text goes from left to right, so modern Japanese uses both styles. That means if you learn Japanese, you can read in more than one direction. Most languages choose only one direction. Japanese keeps both traditions alive. That's one reason Japanese writing is so unique.